got a commission to paint 12 very small paintings. They're 4 inches by 6 inches. And I showed how to make these backgrounds in an earlier video called Painting a Longhorn. It's just watercolor. It's smooth. It looks textured. But how to make that textured background, this is 2 different versions, using 2 different color palettes. Anyway, I show how to make that background, which is my own invention and sort of my signature style. Now, I already painted the horses on this one, but it's so dark, it doesn't show up that well. So I'm going to use a gold marker and put some highlights in to create more contrast. And it doesn't seem to be creating much contrast at all. Look at that. Well, it creates some. I like to use a silver gel pen to do this. Bring out some contrast. But I can't even find a silver gel pen. And the gold gel pen I used ran out of ink. There you go. That's what it looks like when you add a little contrast with a gold pen. Try a little bit more there. Okay, now I'm going to do the same painting, or one very similar to it, on this piece of paper, on this background. I'm going to use a watercolor pen, a Staedtler Mars Graphic 3000 Duo. There's lots of different watercolor pens. This just happens to be one that I like and have. I'm going to do the outline of the horses first. When you use this watercolor pen, the ink dissolves in water. We spent hundreds of years trying to make indelible ink that does not dissolve in water. And what do I want? I want the ones that dissolve in water. Oh well. I'm going to put a second horse on here. Now it's hard to see where that horse's leg goes in behind the other horse's body, but approximately right there. And his other leg goes off this way somewhere. But it will mostly be covered by the mane of the first horse. All right, then we're going to put a little paint on there. Starting with turquoise on the forward horse. Cat hair. Well, how did cat hair get on my palette? Some cat has been sleeping on it. I have 5 cats that are indoor-outdoor cats, and they love to sleep on the palettes and the paintings. They're especially fond of sleeping on my paintings. And if it ever rains, which lately it does not, they love to go out and get their little paws muddy and come in and walk across my paintings. I usually just incorporate the paw prints into something in the painting. With this style of painting, it's not drastic if your cat walks on it. See how that watercolor pen fades when I cover it with paint, wet paint? I love that effect. It bleeds. It bleeds into the other color. I also like that the watercolor is transparent, so some of the background actually shows up through the paint, and they build up layer upon layer, and it makes the colors way more dramatic. The background itself is already 2 layers of paint. There's the original yellow, and then there's the layers that I put on to create that textured effect. I usually about this point where I start to pull some of that paint to the side, just to give it a little bit of a look of motion. That's what I like to paint, is that motion. Okay. I'm going to paint the second horse a kind of orange color. I don't know what this color's called. Maybe cadmium orange? It's just sitting there on my palette and it grabbed my eye. But here you have a contrast of orange and blue. Opposite colors on the color wheel. When you use opposite colors, oh, there's a cat hair in that one too. When you use colors that are opposite on the color wheel, you can wind up with paintings that really pop. See how that watercolor pen bleeds in? It just looks like you painted with watercolors on the paper. And you did, basically. It's just watercolor and a pen. I'm gonna drag some of that that wet paint on the back of the legs back this way. Put a little motion in it. Now it has to dry for a couple minutes. Then we can put manes and tails on it. Let's see, how's it doing on drying? It's okay. I usually put the manes and tails in black. Okay. I like to just kind of paint free and easy at this part. Gives the painting some motion. Or I should say, it adds to the motion in the painting. Now that paint there on the blue horse wasn't quite as dry as it should have been, but it's okay. I don't mind that it blends in like that. I can see though that I've kind of messed up on the tail of this horse, of the orange horse, because I need to fit that in. It's going to go off the page, which is okay when you're dealing with a very small canvas sometimes, or even a big one. It sometimes goes off the page. It's okay with me. I think I can put the tail of the blue horse in. Ooh, I like it just like that. That's enough. Just a little touch on the bottom of the leg to show the hooves. Not too much. And no, I didn't forget the mane of the orange horse. I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit more. I painted out the ear, one of the ears here on this horse. Ooh, I like that effect. But we'll put it back in. That horse has an ear right there. Now you can see it a little bit. So even though this paint isn't completely dry, the orange paint isn't, it comes out and it makes a nice effect when the black blends in with it. Okay. Now let me see. Am I going to leave that? I'm going to leave it. I like that one just like it is. I'm not going to decorate those horses anymore. I'm going to sign it. And let it dry. There you go. So happy painting and happy trails. And if you want to see how I did that background, look at my video, painting a longhorn. It was great.